Hey guys, real quick, this is Evan. Just before you start the show, I want to apologize really quick, especially towards the beginning. There's a couple. We had some audio technical difficulties. I had some audio technical difficulties. The internet was being a little slow, a little glitchy, but fixed that a little ways into the episode. So just want to apologize for in advance for a couple times at the beginning. So little, couple instances of us talking over each other, or of me talking over somebody else. But it clears up later, eventually. So just wanted to let you know that. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show. I'll see you in the mid-break, whatever. Okay, enjoy.
Welcome to UI Squared, everybody.
So we are officially Oofy.
Yes.
Although many have vetoed that name.
On this show, we're going to be talking about a variety of different subjects that we are well underqualified to talk about.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Percy Jackson series.
Jeffrey Epstein, everybody.
Should be a great conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
Nice.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
How y'all doing tonight?
I'm pretty good, just hanging in there.
We're hanging.
That's all of us right now.
We're
So
doing solid.
I think this is the week where you start to slowly descend into madness.
I feel like we're reaching that point right now.
Should we do intros for the 15,000th time?
Oh yeah. I'm Evan J. I watched the Spongebob movie the other day, and I have some serious questions about it.
I'm Ruby Leonardi, and I officially have housing for the new year, and it feels great.
I'm Michael W., and I have nothing on my mind, honestly.
I'm Seth Lyle, and right now my Zoom background is Christ, which is ironic since he abandoned us and trying to get an apartment in South.
Well, hey, we got something.
Yeah, well,
Also,
that's
I feel
true.
like,
Also, it's Good Friday, so that's kind of ironic.
yeah, it's especially relevant because, Good Friday was the day it happened, so.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I do these things without even knowing. It's really just God channeling through me, I think.
First off, you've had that background for the past 7 times we've done Zoom, so don't act like you're special.
Yeah, but I did not realize it was Good Friday until you guys just said. I did not make that connection.
We'll see.
How-
The past 7 times we've been on Zoom has been during Lent, so
That is
So I'm just keeping with the theme.
Seth's been doing it the whole time.
How
Yeah.
could you not know it's Easter? Fox and Friends had a whole segment.
I know it's Easter on Sunday, but I'm not in tune enough with the Catholic faith anymore to be like, oh, if it's Easter, that means today is Good Friday. Like, I don't
You
know.
heard it here. Seth the Wild does not watch Fox and Friends.
Damn, you got me.
A heathen.
I only watch it because I really wanted a bagel this morning.
That's
We
the
all make
trade-off.
sacrifices.
Look, it
Wait,
was
so
12
do you
o'clock, and all I wanted was a bagel.
So do you watch Fox and Friends and they send you a bagel?
Yes,
Is that
they
how
do.
it works?
They send me
mail,
a
yeah.
bagel in the mail
Wow.
every time I watch Fox.
I want Sean Hannity to personally sign my bagel every time I watch
In
Fox and
butter.
Friends. In butter.
That's been our week. That's our state of mind
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Sean
I have
Hannity
a
signing
question
my
for
bagel.
y'all. Yes. I have a question for y'all. So, I just said I recently watched the SpongeBob movie, and I watched the David Hasselhoff scene. And if you haven't
Oh, I
watched
love
this,
that scene.
if you haven't watched, if you're one of the 1% that hasn't watched the SpongeBob movie and seen the scene,
Classic.
basically David Hasselhoff runs up on SpongeBob and Patrick when the world needed him most, and he delivers them to Bikini Bottom. But I would just like to imagine what the pitch scene was for that to David Hasselhoff, because it was kind of just like a, hey, all right, David, thank you, love your work. Here's what we're gonna have you do. So you're gonna come in, right? You're gonna say, I'm David Hasselhoff, and they're gonna be like, whoa, David Hasselhoff, and they're gonna ask you if you can help them, and you're gonna say, yeah, and you're gonna take them into the middle of the ocean on your back, right? Meanwhile, they're gonna be fighting some squid thing on your back. It doesn't matter. It's played by Alec Baldwin. Not important. Anyways, you're gonna get to Bikini Bottom, right? And you're thinking, oh, he's just gonna drop them. No. Here's
That's
what
too
you're gonna
easy.
do. It's too easy. What you're gonna do is you're going to stand up like Christ himself in the water. You're going to part your biceps like Moses in the Red Sea. You're going to shove SpongeBob and Patrick and a crown in between your biceps. And then you're going to squeeze and launch them into the ocean. And then you're going to get blown up later. It's not important. That's a later thing.
Can you guys not
And
do
I'd
that?
like yeah, is that not a normal Sunday?
Is
I'd
that
like to
not
imagine
how men's pecs work? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I
We're not-
like the biblical imagery. I'd never really saw that before, but I'm intrigued by it now.
if you really think about it, SpongeBob is Christ.
Jesus.
Exactly.
It's a Jesus analogy. Like,
Speaking of cartoons, I feel like this leads into our topic of the week, which is something new we're trying.
Yeah, if we want to talk about weird pitches, let's talk about some children's cartoons.
So at some point,
yeah. So real
During the
quick before
week-
we start that,
I think it was like Monday, someone in our collective studio group chat, it might have been Mike or Evan, just said, hey, let's make lists.
it was Michael.
And we were like, okay. And then we ran with it.
Might as well.
Well, what positive is in the world right now? Honestly, like we're all stuck in our houses. We're seeing all these online trends. Why not start our own? So
Yeah.
here
let's
we
do it.
are.
Here we are starting our own trend.
So
Being trendsetters.
I just came up with the idea off the top of my head. As far as like childhood cartoons, well, yes, but as far as like childhood cartoons, but as I thought about it, like as I was making it, and in like the 5 minutes that it took me, I was like, wow, like these things really like shaped my childhood. So like these things were actually pretty important to me.
Yeah, and looking at my list, it makes sense for who I am today.
Yeah. A lot of
I am
these things
shaped by
have
it.
built my collective conscious over the years. And there was a couple that I didn't. I feel like we should have like an honorable mention segment just before we read off our list, because there were some that I couldn't put on there, but I really wanted to.
Yeah, there are some where I was like, I definitely watched that excessively, but I don't know if it makes the top 5.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking we could go 5-2 for each round robin, then do honorable mentions before we list off number 1.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We'll each go off with our number 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then.
And I imagine after number 5, we're going to have a discussion after each.
Yeah. This is going to be a long one, but it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what you paid for,
We
guys.
are passionate about our children's cartoons. So.
100%.
Yeah,
Also, we're stuck at home, so you can't expect 3 topics from us tonight, fellas. Like, that ain't how it gonna be going.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So who wants to go first?
Michael,
I'll
why don't
go
you go?
first.
Or Roby, go ahead.
You're
'Cause I'm the
definitely
only
excited.
lady.
Number
Only by a
5.
technicality. Number 5 for me is Phineas and Ferb.
Ooh,
Mm.
that's interesting. Okay.
All right, I respect
It's
it.
104. Okay, we're not gonna do that.
There is really 104 days of summer vacation this year.
But school doesn't come along just to end it.
Yeah.
No, it might not.
What
She
we can
says
do-
laughing and then she starts crying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, totally get behind Phineas and Ferb. Phineas and Ferb is actually higher up on my list.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Wow, aren't you
What's number
special?
5?
What's your number 5,
Seth?
Seth?
What's my number 5? My number 5 is Jimmy Neutron.
Jimmy Neutron. Ooh, that was.
Oh, wait, okay, I completely forgot a whole realm of honorable mentions.
Yeah, that was actually one of
Yeah.
my honor. That was like number 6 on my list. Was Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron, classic.
I'll
Particularly
go
this
my
counts
number
as 2,
5.
but I just want to mention
I not have
quickly
watched this.
the Jimmy Neutron Timmy Turner crossover. Special place.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll go around my number 5. Code Lyoko. Some of y'all might not have watched that, but
I heard
I've
about
heard of
that.
it.
I have not watched that.
it was Code Lyoko was a formative part of my late, like, single digits. It was like 8, 9, 10.
My late teens.
My late teens. I actually watched that like yesterday. Like I just finished it. It's great.
Awesome. Yeah. I heard a lot of good things about it. Like, would it be something that you recommend for, like, even though that we're now in college?
I feel like so. I recently I watched it a lot when I was a kid, but I never finished it. Like I never knew that there was that they like finished it. So I recently watched the ending, and it wasn't bad. Like I think it was more nostalgia that was making it good, that it was just like really good in my heart. But some of the animation was really not good. Like it was really 2006 3D animation.
Yeah.
And
Sounds about right.
just kind of bad. But I think the story-wise, it's pretty all right.
So Seth, you mentioned the Timmy Turner Jimmy Neutron crossover. My
Yeah.
number 5 is the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, that's my number 4.
Ooh.
They're right there.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
of them.
that's my number like 6.
Before they basically turned, like they brought in like Puff, I think her name is Poof, whatever. her name
Yeah.
is. And the dog and the other girl, like that was some solid television. And
Yeah.
those things are still good to watch.
Timmy was an average kid that no one understands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad and Vicky. Wow,
See-
it's amazing how that just sticks.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
after we do this, we'll rank our top 5 theme songs
Themes?
of
Okay.
Oh my
Because
god.
only tell you, some of those are like the Danny Phantom theme song. Like that didn't make
Oh,
it onto
good.
my list,
Both
but
by
goddamn,
Danny
Butch
Phantom-
that's a song.
Hartman.
Danny Phantom's my number 8. Yeah.
Oh, you did a top 10, Ruby.
Well, I've been writing them down because I couldn't thought of them like right now as the show's going. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Danny Phantom didn't make it onto my top 5, but just the theme song alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Uh,
Evan,
really-
number 5.
Number 4.
Oh wait, no, yeah, hold on. Are we back around?
Yeah.
All right, my
Yes.
number 4 might make some of you guys angry.
Oh boy.
Avatar.
Mm,
Only number
Hmm.
4?
okay.
Okay.
That is only because
Okay. Let's
Avatar
let's
is
all take
one
deep
I
breaths.
like better as a teenager and adult than as a kid. I watched it much less as a kid.
Okay.
Okay.
The childhood TV shows, I didn't watch it as a child. I watched it when I was like 15, 16.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
I watched it. Yeah. Okay. I remember I sat down for Avatar and watched the finale. I don't want to talk too much about it, but
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna
Number one.
get to
Yeah, I think
Avatar.
we're gonna
in the
get
future.
to Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I'm sure we would.
all right. Someone tells me and Evan's list might.
We
line up.
might be a little similar.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 4 is Fairly Odd Parents. We already kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Jimmy Neutron. Honestly, like Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents, they could have 5 and 4. Like they're really
Kind of
interchangeable.
Those two,
They're very good.
Yeah, those
similar
two-
shows.
same time, but like same. I remember watching like it was SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, and Fairly Odd Parents that I watched at the same time.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
remember
the three.
and we talked like I remember the crossover events and that just like blowing my freaking mind.
Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Timmy
what?
Power Hour was so
and they actually changed
good.
like
It
the
was-
oh my
animations
God.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
it was the animation was really ambitious too. Like
Yeah.
you didn't think that they could like but put both together, and it worked.
Yeah,
And then they
yeah.
did.
But that
They
blew my
did.
mind back when I was a young boy. Before there were cinematic universes and stuff.
My number 4 is Codename Kids Next Door.
Ooh, classic! I totally forgot.
That's
That's
the one
definitely
I
going on my
totally
honorable
forgot
mention.
about that one.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah.
I was writing it and I realized I was like Nickelodeon centric. So I was thinking about some of the Cartoon Network shows, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
That is a fever dream show for me. I'm not sure if it existed or not.
I didn't know it was like I didn't think it was real until like
Why
I
does
was
no one
10.
think that show was real? Like
it was
that's
so weird.
every time
Yeah,
I talk
it
to
is a
someone,
weird-
they're like, "That's a real show," and I'm like, "Yeah, we didn't like collectively hallucinate."
Yeah, I definitely watched that show, but I just don't
Everyone
remember
watched
ever
it,
watching
but no
it.
one remembers it. It's the
Yeah.
creepiest thing. It's like the not deer of the Blue Ridge Parkway, which
I
I will
don't
get into one of these days.
Yeah, please. I don't know what that is. But anyways,
It's my
Codename Kids
favorite
Next Door.
cryptid, and it's the only cryptid I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So my number 4, I went with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Do you remember it?
I do, mostly because I watched it when I was like 6 or 7. Like I watched it later in my childhood. But there were a lot of like characters that really annoyed me, but the ones that actually worked, like I really enjoyed. So
Solid. Yeah.
I mean, who was the character? I like chocolate milk. Was it Cheese?
Yeah, I think it was cheese. Yeah.
Yeah, I love cheese.
Yeah,
And
I
my sister
remember.
loved cheese.
Anything
I
about
remember.
the show.
I liked the show. I just don't remember like anything specific about it.
Because it was a classic show, and they never showed reruns until a couple of years afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We
All
going
right,
to
we're
number
back.
three.
Number
Backward.
three for me is Gravity Falls.
Oh my god, how have I
Ooh,
A
forgotten?
show I never watched.
Look, I just rewatched it because it's on Disney Plus. So like, I just got back into it, and I am having the time of my life.
How have I forgotten Gravity Falls?
It's a good one.
I've seen things from Gravity Falls.
grave
I've seen a few
mistake.
episodes, but I
Summer
never
weed,
regularly
like,
watched it.
whenever Halloween came around and we would get like Butterfingers, me and my friends would all get this loser candy. Like that was our favorite saying for like a solid 3 weeks.
Nice. Okay, so
Gravity
my
Falls
number
is
three
so
is
good.
Phineas and Ferb, which we already talked about. But
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. 100 an hour.
no,
Yeah.
I just Phineas and Ferb, like we were
From the
talking
top
about
people.
like crazy pitch meetings. Like that is like the we're snorting cocaine in the writer's room pitch meeting. You got these two brothers, right? And they're like building these crazy contraptions in their backyard, and their sister's trying to buy them. But wait, there's a platypus.
There's a whole subplot.
But the
Or
platypus
there's a
is
secret agent.
Yeah.
and his enemy, his rival, is called Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
A disgraced,
makes
sad,
innators.
very depressed German
Yes.
scientist.
You know what's the funniest thing about Phineas and Ferb? Is like when you look at the show, it's a great show, and then you remember it's a great musical show because they have
Yeah.
some pops.
Yeah.
They really do. Like you got busted. Classic. We're getting the band back together.
We're getting the band
What
back
was
together.
What was the
There are some
no.
classics.
What's
Squirrels
the one
My
where
Pants.
Candace had the deep voice.
Oh, those boys are evil.
P-I-L-B-O-Y-S. That's it.
Those boys are evil. When I had a sore throat earlier this semester, I could sing that song exactly.
Every time I lose my voice, that's what I do.
That's the song.
Yeah, but yeah, Phineas and Ferb, just great show. Just a lot of like imagination, always something different. They were always making something else every episode, And
Yeah.
just the subplot was just like the most engrossing subplot I've ever seen.
Back together.
So my at my high school, actually, one of the students there was Baljeet, who's
What?
the voice actor for Baljeet. Yeah.
What?
Wow.
You're just now telling us you know Belgian.
Okay, Roby went to school
I don't
with
know
Zion
him.
Williamson, and that is nothing compared to
That is
freaking
nothing.
Baljeet's
I
voice.
don't know him because I was like in first grade when he started voice acting. But
Okay, fine. Maybe I have a bigger claim to fame. I've talked to Zion Williamson.
oh my god,
That is
it's so
snapchat.
cool.
No, okay. Just being in the presence of Baljeet's voice actor, totally different level. Let's be
Totally,
real.
I
don't-
am your failure.
I don't think there's a greater achievement in life than knowing Baljeet's.
I'm glad to
voice
hold
actor.
that. I'm
I
glad to
think
hold
you
that
should,
achievement.
Michael.
I feel like if you knew Ferb, that'd be better. Whatever his name is, who's in Maze
There's
Runner.
no getting better.
Yeah, I know that guy you're talking about, Ferb's voice actor.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Wait, it's the guy that always looks young despite the fact that he's 30.
Yeah, it's the British one from
The one in the Maze Runner. The
Maze
Newt,
Runner.
he plays Newt in the Maze Runner.
yeah, the one who's not Dylan O'Brien. Man, I
Yeah.
should have been a voice actor as a kid.
Yeah, you got the skills for it.
I was just saying I could have gotten money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Evan, what's your number 3?
So my number 3 is Teen Titans, because Teen Titans was a very formative part of my childhood. I remember watching it with my sister. I watched a lot of cartoons with my sister. Let me just preface with that. But it's like
Adorable.
in our basement, with like the really old like box TV
The
that we
massive
have.
Yep.
Yeah, just huge. We had to cut a hole in the back of the cabinet so it would fit in there.
Yep. I feel like everyone
and,
had that TV.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching the episode with Tara, like the last episode of, I think, season 5 or whatever, when Tara runs and it's just Beast Boy in the room and he's like, wait, come back. And she just doesn't. And I was like, I got to know what happens. And they just never came out with more episodes. That was like the first time in my life where I was like severely disappointed.
It started with Teen Titans, end with Firefly.
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, I didn't know that much about Teen Titans because I didn't watch the show that much. I went into the movie though. Like, the movie was sort of where I got the gist of everything.
Yeah, I did not watch Teen Titans at all. I say I've heard obviously of it, and I've seen different things. I've mostly heard about the controversy over like Teen Titans Go being like trash or whatever.
I will say that if you didn't watch Teen Titans, I'd say watch Young Justice now, because Young Justice has similar spirit to Teen Titan, like the closest I would say, but it's not like, it kind of loses some of that kid aspect, that like really childish aspect. Like, for like sometimes I watch Young Justice and I'm like, oh yeah, this is still a show that kids will watch, but like Teen Titans had some of that real kid humor, whereas Young Justice had like tween humor, like it was edgy, but like it wasn't like
All the
kid
kids are
like
edgy these days.
yeah. So, but Young Justice is also really good. I don't know if I would give that an honorable mention spot, but it's definitely something to watch.
I kind of want to go back to all these kids, those kid shows, and watch them for like inappropriate, jokes or comments that are meant for like the adults who watch.
Yeah.
Like there's like that one where it's like the Justice League or whatever, and it's like Wonder Woman talking to Flash, and Flash is like, "I'm the fastest guy in the world," and Wonder Woman's like, "That's why you can't get a date."
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Whoa.
There's so many of those in Disney movies.
Yeah,
So many. There's so many in like Cartoon Network kid shows, especially like regular show.
Yeah.
A bunch. There was a couple in Gravity Falls.
Amazing World of Gumball.
Amazing World of Gumball. There's so many.
There's so
Amazing World of Gumball. I used to really not like, but now
I've come around to it.
I never watched that. That really came in like after I was starting to move away from like cartoons and more into like the live action Disney shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
That was.
What are we
that
on?
was.
Sorry.
We're on to.
I think I think.
Yeah, you
My
started.
Michael, did you go?
No, my 3 is Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
Good. It's a good
again,
one.
Powerhouse. Amazing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Always a classic. Well deserved on any spot in a top 5.
Yeah, and I was really a big fan of not even Jimmy, but because he was like, I kind of found him to be kind of smug sometimes, but like the supporting characters, I love Shane, I love Carl,
Bulby.
yeah, his parents are hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, I like literally one of my favorite memes is we all make mistakes in the heat of passion, Jimbo.
Oh my god.
It's just so funny to me, like because I could just like hear it in like the dad's voice and him just saying that.
I don't even know what the context for that quote is.
I don't know either.
I think it
But
was
like
something
the
about
picture
pie.
with the meme is also like it's like the dad like leaning back. It's so funny.
Yeah, I remember and that was another show with a lot of weird concepts, like the Genes episode where all the genes came
All the
back.
genes
like,
come
he
alive.
was getting new genes, and all of them like came to life and started attacking the city.
Or that one, there was one episode where the old lady took over like the entire world with her television show, just knitting.
Yeah.
Saying weird things, and people were hypnotized. That was great. That's one of her episodes.
Yeah.
The Hulk one where he like turns to the Hulk and Cindy has to calm him down.
The one
My
where
first ship ever was Cindy and
yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah. The one where Cindy and Jimmy get stuck on the island, and the other people have to like save them.
Yes.
All good ones.
All right, Roby, number 2.
My number 2 is Looney Tunes. I watched so much Looney Tunes as a child.
That's fair.
That's fair. I did not watch Looney Tunes regularly enough to put on the list, but I respect it.
Yeah, that's.
I watched a lot of. We have these like, we have like 5 complete box sets of Looney Tunes from like my mother's childhood.
Yes, we have the same.
I watched a lot of Bugs Bunny as a kid, Roadrunner, some Sylvester and Tweety, but mostly Bugs Bunny.
I know we had a box set. We have like 6 box sets of a bunch of different ones, and it would be like a Friday night, Saturday night thing when me, my sister, and my mom especially, it was me and my mom, and we would like sit down and just like watch them for hours, like just pop in a DVD. Like if we didn't want to watch anything else, we'd watch that, and it was like that's probably one of my honorable mentions, because just watching Looney Tunes was like, wow. And I remember like getting exposed to like the old racist jokes in them, but they had like the preface of like Whoopi Goldberg being like, these jokes were funny at the time, but they're not funny now. But we leave them in because they show history. So I was like, that was
Yosemite Sam was pretty racist.
Yeah,
there was a lot of racist in that stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of racism, but yeah.
I remember the one specifically I was thinking about was like where they were drawing the Mason-Dixon line. And they had
oh my god!
And he came back as that was bad. That was bad.
It was some like enemy of Bugs Bunny that was just like really bad.
There were some good ones. Also, Mel Blanc was just like an amazing voice actor. So
a small nugget from my childhood. 2 Christmases ago, my one of my uncles, this is my dad's brother, which makes a lot of sense if you know my father. He was like, there are 11 episodes of Looney Tunes that they don't allow to air because they're like too racist or raunchy. I have all of them. And I was like, you're my favorite uncle now.
Did you watch them?
We watched all the 11 illegal Looney Tunes. And they were bad.
Okay.
But
like how bad we talking?
Like definitely like racist with a hard R. Like,
okay.
It was
maybe not the racist ones, but like we need to make a segment where you just explain to us like the really raunchy bad ones.
It was one with
on the show.
It was like Jessica Rabbit, and I was like, how did this ever air? So yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, we all know Jessica Rabbit is the source of all furries in the world.
Yeah,
we're being honest here.
Hey, I feel like we'll get to cartoon crushes in a minute, but Jessica Rabbit was part of my bisexual awakening, and I'm not ashamed.
So what you're saying
that is a hot take right there. Jessica Rabbit awakened me to my bisexuality.
I didn't say she did. I said she was part of it.
She was part of the reason.
I was still in that like bisexual phase that everyone goes through, where it's like they look at girls and think, I just think they're neat,
Right.
Because you're too young to realize it yet.
And then you looked at Jessica Rabbit and you were like, whoa.
Whoa. It was at that moment she realized what she really wanted from life.
Was Jessica Rabbit. Anyway.
Number 2?
Looney Tunes. So my number 2, we're getting to the heavy hitters now. Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
I didn't even think of that.
So Star Wars Clone Wars, which some of you may not be aware, is currently airing its final season right now on Disney+. It was obviously an animated version, an anime Star Wars show that takes place between episodes 2 and 3. And it was my first real introduction to Star Wars when I was a kid. And Star Wars is something I like a lot now. And that's all because of, the show. And the show is a show that I appreciated when I was a kid. And it's a show I can appreciate now. So,
this being the second time we've mentioned Disney+. This show is not sponsored, but it could be.
But it could. Get
in contact.
2 episodes talking about how much we hate the mouse. Like,
don't worry about it.
No, it's fine.
Disney Plus. If you sponsor us, we'll talk about you more positively.
Yeah, exactly. But
you can bribe us. Yeah. We're bribable.
Hey, all news is good news,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Star Wars Clone Wars, just a fantastic show. Is my first introduction to like an anthology show. Like, so it's arcs that follow the same characters, but like different unrelated stories.
Right.
And just, my first introduction to Star Wars was that, and then I would go and watch all the movies. But yeah, it was very good, very foundational to my childhood. So, yeah.
I have to say, I saw some of the ads for Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and I remember thinking when I first went, I was like, that can't be good, and I just never watched it. And that has to be one of my biggest regrets is that I never watched the Clone Wars
Yeah,
while it was
it's-
airing.
You're gonna
Because
want to
so
watch
many
it.
people
It's
thought it was so good.
It's so good. Like I will like
Yeah.
one of the best things about it is like because it's just a bunch of arcs. Like I'll admit, not every arc in Clone Wars is good. Some of them are kind of like, wow, why is that even an arc? But like the vast majority of them are great, and some of them are like I think like essential if you're a Star Wars fan to watch. Like the stuff with, I don't think this is really a spoiler at this point. But stuff with like Darth Maul coming back and stuff is just like yeah, it's just like so good. The new characters it introduces, like Ahsoka and stuff, are just really. I think Ahsoka just got confirmed to be in Mandalorian season 2.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
So that's obviously if you want to know who Ahsoka is, watch Clone Wars because she's a big part of that. And she's one of my favorite Star Wars characters. So
I see a lot of people saying how Ahsoka is a better female lead than Rey.
Look. I mean, the new movies have a lot of problems, and I'm not just gonna say it's all Rey, but yes, Ahsoka is definitely a better female lead than Rey. Granted, Ahsoka has had a lot more screen time than Rey. Like all the TV shows, and she's in Rebels too. Like. There's a lot. She has a lot of screen time if you watch the animated shows.
Rey wasn't that great of a character.
Yeah, and Rey's
they didn't design.
They did not.
But
she's a real Mary Sue. Like
Yeah,
it's like there's not like growth, But Ahsoka, you see her kind of travel from like very young, and then in Rebels she's like an adult, and then I mean in Mandalorian she'd be like pretty old. So But yeah, Star Wars Clone Wars, just fantastic. And also it makes you like care. Like the best thing about it for me is that it makes me able to watch the prequel movies and appreciate them. Because like without that show, the prequels, like, I mean, they're okay, but God, if Hayden Christensen doesn't suck sometimes in those movies. And if some of the dialogue isn't just terrible.
But George Lucas can't write a screenplay for it.
Yeah, like if some of those lines weren't just the absolute worst. But if you see the Clone Wars, it's really way better.
A really good actor, and he was really passionate about the project. Like it's really sad the hand he got dealt.
Yeah, like some of those lines they're real bad, and I do feel a bit for Hayden Christensen because no one could deliver those lines. Yeah. But anyway,
I've seen him do good work. But I will say though, before we move on, that I didn't watch the Clone Wars, and I will, and I do regret that. Instead of watching the Clone Wars, I did watch Dragon Ball Z, which was also super formative in my life, but it's not on this list because it's anime. So I didn't want to bring that debate into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not putting any anime on here. Granted, the first anime I watched was Attack on Titan. That's not really a kid show. So
true.
Yeah,
so
fair.
Not really meant for kids. All right. So my number 2 was SpongeBob, but only seasons 1 through the first movie.
That's fair.
That's prime SpongeBob. So like when he first gets hired to the SpongeBob movie. And I feel like that because and this is true for a lot of things, the SpongeBob movie was supposed to be the last one. It was supposed to be the end. Everything was supposed to end there. So it like everything before that was like a lot of care was put into it, and there was like the characters were not, parodies of themselves, yet they were like actually interesting, funny kid characters. And like some of the stuff was just good. Like Band Geeks, one of my favorite episodes of anything of all time.
Yeah, Greasy Buffoons.
The Hash Slinging Slasher episode.
The Hash Slinging Slasher. Bro, I love that episode.
That episode taught me tension in a way that I never Memento or anything could never teach me that.
They're gonna be like, Roby, how did you learn how to make horror movies? The Hash Slinging Slasher.
That taught me.
We will study that in class. Yeah, but SpongeBob's great. Yeah, the movie, especially that first movie, I watched that movie so much when I was a kid. Like we had a DVD. I used to watch that thing like on repeat when I was really young.
Me, my aunt, and my sister went to see that movie in theaters. We sat front row and watched that, and God bless my aunt, because I know she didn't want to be there. She took us, and she was super excited for us, so we saw it, and it was really good. And you know, even watching it now, granted, rose-tinted glasses, I like SpongeBob now, but still, it's a pretty good movie.
It's still like
Yeah.
holds up.
Yeah. There's some parts that like like some of the beginning parts, I was like, this isn't as good as I remember. This is definitely like kid stuff. Like,
Yeah, but then he starts shredding that guitar at the end, and you're like,
I'm a Goofy Goober.
This
still.
is what I remember.
that still slaps.
Yeah, like Goofy Goober Rock, like, oh my god.
I never knew that was an
real
actual song. Yeah, I just thought that was a song they made, but it's a parody.
Yeah, I
Now That We're Men was good.
Yeah.
Now That We're Men was really good.
I love like in the Goofy Goober Rock, I remember this for some reason. It said like Goofy Goober, when it says rock, it just shows a picture of a rock on screen. And then it goes away. And I'm just like, that's so stupid, but it makes me laugh.
Mike, what's your number 2?
I actually went off the board a little bit. My number 2 is The Spectacular Spider-Man from 2008 to 2010.
Interesting.
So this was
Drake Bell?
I think so. I think it was on Disney, and it's no joke, probably my favorite cartoon superhero show of all time. The characters are really well done. The villains, like, even though some of them show up multiple times, it really feels like they went and got depth characters and really brought them to life. And the animation's actually really good for 2008. So, I mean, I watched that all the time with my dad. It was a great show.
I didn't see it, so I can't say.
I remember watching that one, and I watched that one, and because they ran that alongside like the 1960s Spider-Man, or not the 1960s. I think it was like the 90s Spider-Man.
Yeah,
like the one they made alongside the X-Men and all the old X-Men, like 90s, early 2000s Spider-Man. And I watched those two together, and they were so different. And it was, I think, I can't put one over the other, but Spectacular Spider-Man was really good. Mostly because I think Drake Bell did a good job playing the sort of quirky and not annoying Spider-Man, but the quirky, funny Spider-Man. Yeah. Whereas like the old Spider-Man was just kind of a jerk.
And I was in that age gap, and the storytelling was so good that like I bought into it.
Mm.
So like I felt like if I watch it now, the realism is sort of taken out of it. Like when there's a scene where like in one of the episodes where like Harry takes the serum and he injects himself with it, even though his dad is Green Goblin. And as a kid, I was like, oh my God. But right now I'd be like, well, like I've seen plenty of iterations of that.
Yeah, but back then it hit.
Yeah.
Back then it slapped.
Roby, it feels like you have a different number 1 than the rest of us.
Well, are we going to do honorable mentions?
Yeah, let's do
right.
honorable
mentions. Yeah.
So go ahead, Roby. What are some of your honorable mentions?
Oh, I just closed it because I memorized my number 1. I forgot we were doing honorable mentions. Okay. My honorable mentions are, in order, Tom and Jerry, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Johnny Test, and Fairly Odd Parents.
Johnny Test. Wow.
Johnny Test. That's calling me back.
I loved Johnny Test, and I don't remember why.
Yeah, I had a love-hate relationship with Johnny Test. I watched it. I remember thinking, like, this is so dumb when I watched it, but I couldn't stop watching it.
The sisters. If I remember right, that was who I really liked.
Because the sisters were funny. Yeah, the sisters were funny.
So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.
Those are solid honorable mentions. Thinking, I don't have mine ready, so I'm just kind of throwing these out there. Tom and Jerry, that was like my Looney Tunes. Like, you know, that was just an old cartoon that I could watch anytime, especially when they got just really dark for some reason. And Tom and Jerry are like, hey, let's jump in front of a train.
That's how the last episode ends.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Tom and Jerry is was a classic. Johnny Test I do remember watching and liking, though I didn't watch it regularly. Kids Next Door, that's one that I would put an honorable mention for. And Danny Phantom, definitely one that almost made the list.
Theme song.
Yeah, David's theme song alone
Wait,
could make the
what?
list.
No, I can't remember it.
He's a phantom. Like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there it is. But yeah, just real good. Real good.
My number one is constantly going through my head, but underlying it, playing at the same time, is Timmy was an average kid.
Yeah.
Which once you hear my number one, you'll understand how frustrating it is.
Oh, and this relates to my number one, but I also watched Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I
when-
wonder what your number one is.
I wonder what your number one is.
Okay, I wonder who all our number ones are besides for Roby.
Besides Roby.
Anyway,
yeah,
Legend of Korra also big honorable mention.
We'll go last when it comes to our number one.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
There's my honorable mentions. Evan.
So I'm thinking my honorable mentions, a lot of the ones you guys said, Danny Phantom, big fan, Jimmy Neutron, and Fairly Odd Parents, because I think I was the only one that didn't put them in my list. But those were really early childhood cartoons that I'd watch every day. Rocko's Modern Life, I used to watch that before class every morning because I didn't start until later. So it was that. Invader Zim, but not in a positive way, because I really didn't like that show as a kid. But that was like knowing it had a big impact on me, because I would watch it because my sister used to love it, so it would be on. So we would watch it. It was so gross.
You would hate watching?
I would hate watching.
Oh, I totally forgot Total Drama Island. That's on there.
Total Drama Island. That's another one. Total Drama Action, I think, was my favorite, but
you said gross, and I was like, I remember how gross some of the Total Drama Island stuff was.
I remember how gross that thing was.
Disgusting. Yeah. But that, and one that nobody mentioned, and I get it, El Tigre was big for me because, again, not Mexican, but just seeing a Hispanic, cartoon on there. And it was also just, funny. It was just fun. The whole, his dad is a hero, his grandfather's a villain, and he's playing both cards. And I just thought the belt was really cool that he turned into, the leopard or the cheetah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I was initially confused at first, and now I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I really liked that show. I was like that and Danny Phantom I used to watch next to each other because I was on the old Nicktoons. When Nicktoons was weird back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and it was they had the commercials with the mascots in the big costumes and the office.
I don't know if you guys are like this, but I have some weird associations between shows because I watched them at the same time. For example, I watched all of Criminal Minds and all of The Office in the same year, and I associate them really close together, but obviously they're very different shows.
Yeah, they're all
but in my head, they're tied together.
Yeah, I just want to mention, I totally forgot to mention this, but also honorable mention goes to Scooby-Doo, and particularly the Scooby-Doo movies, the
Cyber
TV
Chase.
movies, Cyber Chase, Zombie Island, both of those.
The Mummy one.
Just
The
so
Mummy
good.
one is not a movie. It's a What's New Scooby-Doo. It's a 20-minute episode.
No, that can't. That's not.
Let's get him in that Mandela effect crap.
That cannot be true.
I
remember watching an hour-long special where they were in the.
I feel like Scooby-Doo had a mummy at multiple mummy iterations.
They definitely did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, yeah, Scooby-Doo, just a TV show, but then particularly I remember watching the movies, particularly for me, Cyber Chase and Zombie Island. But yeah, they're all.
We watched Cyber Chase on October.
Yeah, we watched Cyber Chase.
You watched it on Halloween.
Guys, no lie.
Yeah.
The Chupacabra episode was one that I watched over and over again.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah. Honorable mentions. I have so many. I was such a nerd when I was a kid. I watched so many cartoons. So ones that were already mentioned: Danny Phantom, Scooby-Doo, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Johnny Test, Kids Next Door. Other ones: Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Yeah.
I love it. Never watched it.
I hated Eddie, but I loved the other two. So, whatever.
Sure.
Arthur, just because PBS, whatever. And the Grim Adventures of Bill and Mandy.
That was.
I never watched that one, but I watched it every now and then. But
You just transcended my subconscious.
I love that show. Yeah, it was so good.
That was a show. I remember watching it, and thinking that was another one that I watched. I was like, this is so weird and kind of gross, because a lot of the things they did in that show were gross. But it was just the animation. But
It didn't reach my top 5 because like there were some like parts about that I just didn't like. But
yeah, it's weird.
yeah, I really like Death. Death was funny. Death was a funny
Yeah.
character.
Okay, so Roby, do you want to go before or after? Because I feel like we're going to talk about our number 1 pick for a while. So I don't know if you want to go now.
Yeah, I'll go
or...
after because I feel like I can tie it out, but we should let's leave the Avatar talk in the middle.
Okay, so there it is, folks.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
well known.
Put the
Great
movie
show.
aside. Put the movie aside.
The movie
didn't
doesn't
happen.
exist. So
I don't know what
let's
you're talking
talk
about.
the
Let's
M.
not
Night
go.
Shyamalan.
yeah, that movie doesn't exist, so we don't have to worry about it.
Listen, I don't want to talk about M. Night Shyamalan, okay? He's not.
Chameleon.
But talking about the show, just
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
I
M.
can.
Night Shyamalan.
I will still go back and watch Avatar. I have gone back and watched Avatar in the past few weeks. Just rewatch some episodes. Like you could rewatch the whole thing and it's good. You can rewatch certain episodes and it's good. Like I don't think I really appreciated how good that show was until I was older and I could watch the last 10 episodes where Zuko was with the group and everything made sense. Like all the plot lines came together. Like it was just so good. And I remember watching the finale with my sister in our basement and just being like, oh my God, just knowing at the time that was something that was going to like stay with me. Like just
One of those first kind of like Avengers Endgame finale moments where you just
yeah, where everything's coming together in the
Everything
finale, and it's just like massive battles, you know.
And you like we talk about like so you just talk about the ending, but like when you look at a lot of shows, like the first episode is something that either turns the audience off or on. And the first episode of The Last Airbender is just so well done.
the boy in the arc was so good.
Yeah,
I
and then,
love it.
like you look back at it, you're like, how is this animation possible in 2005? Just for the opening scene.
They put so much love into that show and so much care, and it was just so well done, so well acted. All of those characters, like the villains were compelling. Iroh was amazing. That was the first positive character arc I've ever seen in a character done super well.
Also,
and
I think
Zuko.
just really good world building.
Yeah.
Like really good world building.
Yeah,
You believed in each world that they created.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really interesting. Is each of the nations was very different and had a kind of a different feel to it. Where whether it was like the air nomads when you got to see them, or like the water tribes or the Earth Kingdom refiners, like they all felt very like distinct. And in a lot of TV shows that I was watching at the time, like SpongeBob, there's not really like a world. I mean, they're in like Bikini Bottom, you know, like there's not like a concrete story. And this is one of the first things I watched,
like
where there was a story all the way through.
I feel like if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender as a kid, you're now a fantasy nerd.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an indicator, you know?
What I found like really interesting is I'm just going over looking at like who it was written by, who was directed by, who it was animated by. And I remember we had the conversation during the first episode about Star Wars and how like even with two different directors, the vision sort of got screwed up. But it seemed like they were all working together. Like JM Animations were the first two, and then they left for the third episode, and then they came back, and then they left again. But it seemed like the continuity was still there, and it seemed like every person's journey was just, I could blush about this thing for days.
I could write essays about Avatar. I mean,
and I think one of the things that Legend of Korra struggled at was world building and making it believable. Like the story of Avatar was so good because there was a singular goal and there were small goals in between. There was like make it to the Water Tribe, first season goal, make it to the learn earthbending, like second season goal, and then just don't die at the end. And then third season, learn firebending, defeat the Fire Lord, that sort of thing, and it all comes together there. And it was well broken up and well paced, and everything made sense. There was only a couple episodes that I didn't like as a kid.
The Great Divide.
The Great Divide's just not a good episode.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
mean that's
only
the way to
stinker.
write a long TV show is you have a few big ultimate goals, and then you have smaller goals along the way because that's just good story writing. All the longer TV shows have that kind of element. Evan, you know this. The Adventure Zone is built around that way. Seth,
Yeah.
you know this. Critical Role is built around that way. It's just good story writing.
Yeah, but yeah, just it's okay. I think like I put Legend of Korra in my honorable mentions. And I think it's better than a lot of people give it credit for. But I think the problem was Nickelodeon said, we'll only make the show for one season. And then they were like, okay, you can have one more season. And then after the second season, they're like, okay, we'll give you a third season. And after that, like, okay, we'll give you a fourth season. And they ended it. But because of that, they could never make like a multi-season arc because they never knew if they were going to be renewed.
Yeah.
So each season has its own arc. And you're right. I think it suffers a little from that.
Also, Aaron Ehaus is a great writer, and he wasn't there for that project. So
yeah, but I think it does suffer from that. I think there's still a lot of good moments in Korra, but it definitely does suffer because it doesn't have like what Avatar has, where right from the beginning you're like, okay, the Fire Lord bad, gotta defeat him, and that kind of can help carry you through all the smaller goals.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about this too much longer, but I just want to finish off my piece with this. A lot of the shows, most of the shows on this list, I didn't really fully appreciate to the extent I do now until I was older. I think Avatar is the only one I can really say I appreciated to its fullest extent, or to the fullest extent I could at the time. I think it was just so well done that a kid could find so much to love about it, and later an adult could find so much to love about it. It was just that good.
Yeah.
So
it is just pretty much the perfect cartoon. I mean, honestly, like the final Agni Kai between Zuko and Azula, that whole sequence is one of the best animated sequences I've ever seen. Even though it's not like the craziest fight I've ever seen, like just animation wise, like especially when you look at like modern day anime or whatever. But like, oh my god, if that fight and the animation and the music and just like seeing like Azula slowly lose her mind in the lead up and Zuko becoming stronger in the lead up and seeing the fight after they've already fought in the past, like that whole sequence I think encapsulates like what's just great about the show. And the animation is just great with a different color fire and stuff. But
I think fine not putting it at number one just because I didn't think it was fair because I didn't get into it until later. It wasn't a kid show to me. Like, I never had that kind of kid enjoyment of it because I was much older when I watched it.
Yeah, but I remember I watched it because, like, Nick 2 or whatever would just air it, like, continuously and in order. So I think the first time I watched it, I probably jumped in like, season 2 or whatever. And then it finishes, and then it would just, as soon as they, like, literally, if you looked in the guide on your TV, like, the finale would happen, and then right after that, they would just premiere the premiere, Boy in the Iceberg, and they would just start over. And so, like, that was one of the things where, like, I sat down, I watched, and there was actual, like, continuity. Like, I had to watch every episode. It wasn't like SpongeBob where I could drop in and out and it didn't matter. Yeah. Like, it actually mattered that I saw what happened before this episode. So
yeah.
But we could talk about Avatar forever. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Go watch it. Yeah.
Right.
What are you even doing?
Roby, why don't we jump to you? What is your
Mike? Were you
top one?
Yeah, of course.
My number one, I'm surprised you guys haven't really. It's Scooby-Doo, because I just watched it so much as a child. I've seen every episode, all the movies, and most of them I have to be reminded of because I'm still convinced they just like don't make sense in my mind, but like I know they exist because I've looked them up. But they're all great, and I love them so much. And I feel like Scooby-Doo was my first hint that I really love cop procedurals, because I really love, the only cop procedural I won't watch is CSI, and that's because it's so bad I can't ignore it.
Right. Well, I think Scooby-Doo is built around its mysteries and stuff, and CSI cop procedurals are mysteries.
Don't
So
you put CSI into that. CSI.
well, the CSI,
Yes.
like actual CSI, is not the show CSI. The cop procedurals are mini mysteries, in every show. So it's just like it's just like an adult version of what a Scooby-Doo thing is.
Yeah, like Law and Order and stuff, where you're always kind of thinking about, like, oh, who's it going to be?
Yeah,
And I could see that kind of starting with Scooby-Doo, where, like, I mean, now if you watch a Scooby-Doo episode, you could be like, okay, it's obviously that guy, but because it's always like the first character that's introduced that seems like a good guy, but it's obviously not. So
yeah, I've watched Law and Order, SVU, Criminal Minds, Dexter, Psych, Leverage, all of them. Leverage isn't really a crime. It's more on the law side. But what's the M for Murder? That's a really good one, but it's only one season, or you should only watch one season. I've just watched a zillion of them. Forensic Files. I've watched all of the Forensic Files.
There was a couple that I watched. Law and Order. I watched Blue Bloods for a little bit.
That one's all right. My grandmother
It's
really
okay.
liked Blue Bloods.
It had Tom Selleck in it, so that was enough for me.
Yeah.
That mustache brought me in.
yeah, but Scooby-Doo, yeah, definitely warrants a top spot. Great
Going
stuff.
back around, now you understand, I have the Fairly Odd Parents theme running in the background, and above it is just, what's new, Scooby-Doo?
Where are you?
Yeah.
Coming after you, gonna solve that mystery.
But yeah, our top 5 cartoons.
Yeah, top 5 cartoons. So
Solid.
yeah, that was pretty good.
A solid representation of the 20 zeros and 2010s right there.
Good morning, y'all. It's Evan, your co-host and editor on Unsolicited Information from Unqualified Individuals on WTBU or on YouTube, depending on where you're listening to us. So a couple updates for y'all. Next week, we're going to be going back to WTBUradio.org for some of our content. We're going to be broadcasting the shows there from our usual 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. time slot. So if you want to keep up with us, make sure to check it out there for general, fun stuff, good quality content. We're pumping out the best things. We're really doing our best. So we really appreciate if you checked us out there. So if you want to keep up with that, WTBUradio.org. If you want to keep up with general updates from us, if you want to hear when shows are going live, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at WTBU_UI2. For, clips, updates, and, some general funnies. We got some funny stuff. Despite what Michael says, we're gonna peer pressure him into getting the spicy memes for y'all. Don't worry. I'm a man of my word. And we'll get at least one, maybe 2, max 3. Make sure you also check out what's going on. Some of the other shows we have on WTBU Radio. We have a lot of fun stuff. I say this every week, but I think it's fun. I want to reiterate, a lot of weird shows. A lot of them. There's a lot of strange shows, but I think they're interesting. I think you'll like them. Just me personally. You don't have to listen to me. But I think you'll like them. So check them out. If maybe UI Squared, once you're done here, or if you want to keep checking out UI Squared, that's amazing too. You can subscribe on the YouTubes if you'd like. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Do all that stuff. Yeah, so other than that, we just one last thing before I go. We wanted to try something different this show, just so we're not talking about the Rona every 5 minutes. So we hope you like it. We did a top 5. We might continue doing stuff like this in the future. Not 100% sure about what they're gonna be about, but hopefully you like them. I think it'll be good quality content. Everything. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. you know. So I'm gonna let you get back to the episode. We're talking about some funny stuff. I haven't actually listened back to the episode yet when I recorded this, so I'm hoping it's good. I think it's good. I think we're funny. You know, you wouldn't be listening to us if we weren't funny, right? Or interesting. You know, we got quality content. So thank you so much for listening. Remember, WTBUradio.org next week. Also at WTBU_UI2 on Instagram and Twitter. So with that, I'm going to let you get back to the show. Have fun, be safe, and keep it sleazy, y'all. I can't even get I said it right? Like I can't even get the old catchphrase right, you know? We just struggle. So Roby, why don't you tell us what you wanted to talk about today?
This kind of popped up like literally as we were starting the show. But it doesn't tie into cartoons, but it does tie into my childhood. Did anyone else have that thing where sometimes they would like draw on themselves with pen in like lower school and middle school, and then your teachers would like destroy you for it?
Yeah, I remember.
Just me?
No,
I've seen it happen, but it never happened to me.
Yeah, I didn't do it, but I had a friend once who did it, and this is like 7th grade, and he used to draw all over his arms because I don't know, he was just bored. He was definitely someone I think who was like who was too smart to be in like 7th grade, right? And it was like, what is the point of this? So he just kind of like doodle on his arm, and then I remember one time like our teacher got just so mad at him.
I mean, I got called in by my middle school principal, who I hated, and basically told that I shouldn't do this anymore. And when I asked why, she said it's just not something, I forget it was either not something a lady should do or not something a little girl should use. Like I can't remember what exactly she said.
So it was sexist either way.
That sounds like a South Carolina, like a good lady doesn't
draw on her arm, like what?
Yeah, and I realize now it was definitely more of an anxiety thing than anything else. But I just started doing it while we were doing our discussion because I had a Sharpie next to me, and I remembered that, and I was like, why?
Roby, what are you anxious about? Group therapy.
Right now. It's a lie. I'm anxious about everything, but that's not important. But
right. Okay. There it is.
No, it was like, I don't know why it was always such a big deal, but I feel like everyone has that experience. They either had a friend or they did it themselves. And everyone, like, the teachers always got so mad, and they're like, oh, it could give you ink poisoning. I have ink injected under my skin. Like, what you gonna do, buddy?
Like,
I always forget
at that point, you didn't have it. But
like,
I always forget you have a tattoo.
Yeah, I'm working on my second one. We'll see. Once this pandemic ends, I think I'm going to go get it done.
Should I leave that in for the grandmothers, or?
I mean, they don't listen to it. It's fine.
No, but I went to a private school, and I won't even call it the South. I'll call it Florida. And something similar happened to me where I drew on my hand, and the teacher thought I was cheating, so I never did it again because, like, I had just fears that if something bad happened to me, my entire life would get ruined. Though
solid perfectionist anxiety.
Yeah, I know. Although people did it all the time in high school, and they never got reprimanded. I was like, what the?
No one cares in high school. I kind of grew out of it in high school, but like everyone, like a lot of people did it in high school, and no one cared. It was just I think it's just because middle school teachers are just a universal representation of what happens when you give people like way too much power who just don't deserve power.
Yeah, like you're not good enough to go to high school, but you're not bad. Like you're not nice enough to be in elementary school. So
like, why on earth would you choose to teach middle school people? They're hellions. Everyone hates them. You hate them. You hate your job. You hate your life. So you take it out on the kids.
It's a middle school is themselves. A vicious cycle. Like the kids are just angsty because like that's just how you are, and then like the teachers are mad because you're angsty, and that makes you more angsty, and that makes the teachers more mad, and then it's like, so now we all just hate ourselves.
Yeah.
Each other,
It's yeah. And it's like everybody in middle school is is big balls of like hormones. Because middle school is like when you're hitting puberty, everybody's angsty, everybody's upset about everything. Like it just doesn't.
Our middle school was so, and it's only gotten worse, but our middle school is known as where the disorders start, because it's where everyone, like if you're gonna develop, an eating disorder or anxiety or depression or anything, it's gonna be in our middle school because it sucks.
It just happens.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think I changed more as a person in middle school than probably any other period of my life. If I think about myself in like 5th grade and think about myself in 8th grade, there's a wide gap.
Even the freshman year, there's a wide gap.
Yeah. I think in terms of like attitude and mannerism and personality, that was more freshman year into sophomore year of high school. But in terms of just like personality, who I am, like what I like, what I'm into, that was like 7th, 8th grade. Because when I started watching anime, when I started like listening to more music, that's really that defined me there. When I started watching more YouTube, right, more regularly.
Late in 7th grade.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I started reading a lot more when I got into like middle school, and I started reading books that were like that weren't like kids books that you could take some actual meaning from, and I think those probably like made me those changed me a lot. And then like I started watching TV shows that I probably should not have been watching at that age.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I mean, with like the internet and like easier access to media, like I don't know, it was real easy for me to grow up quick. Let's say
6th grade was the first time I downloaded iFunny.
Oh yeah, that didn't come till like 8th grade for me.
Yeah, 6th grade was a time for little Roby. I'm really glad you guys will never know 6th grade through 8th grade Roby.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys won't know 6th grade, 8th grade.
That's the weirdest thing, I think, going to a K-12. Like, I have friends who knew me then.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I mean, same, but like, yeah.
I like
gremlin back in 6th grade.
I don't know if you guys did something like this. I guess it's kind of like yearbook signing. But we used to sign T-shirts throughout lower school and middle school, and I was digging through, and one of my really good friends, who we only became friends in junior year, because I didn't like him, he didn't like me, but he's been at my school in the grade below me. I'm talking about Tashler, but none of the people know who that is.
Right. Okay.
He's in the grade below me, and we've stayed into contact after me leaving high school, but we just never interacted. I found on an old shirt from when I was in 4th grade at the oldest, like, have a great summer, so glad to be your friend, Tashler. And I sent it to him and I was like, do you remember this? And he's like, no.
What? That's crazy.
It was very weird.
You know what? I have something similar, because when I used to have I had birthday parties up until I was 10, and I think it was either my 8th or my 10th birthday. I don't remember which. I had a basketball themed party because my mom was like, you should have a basketball themed party. So I was like, sure. So I did. And I invited a bunch of my friends. I played baseball at the time, so all my baseball friends came, all my baseball teammates came. And there was one girl that like I completely forgot was on my baseball team. And they gave this big basketball out at the end, and everybody signed it or whatever. And then I got it. And I was looking at it the other day, and like there was one girl that signed it that I like completely forgot about and made friends with in like 11th grade. So I was friends with her 11th to 12th grade. And then I look at it, I'm like, how did you know me? Like in 2nd grade. Like, oh no, I have to get rid of you. Like you can't know who I was back then. Like it's like the John Mulaney bit. Anybody who's seen me naked and met my parents needs to die. Not the line, but
yeah. Middle school just I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it's also the part in your life where like social stratification happens, and you start to realize that some people have more than other people,
Yeah.
and like some people, and you also start to realize that like some people are just not nice, or just
Yeah.
some people are just terrible, and some people are nice, and like I don't know, I started to notice a lot more differences between people when I got to middle school.
I had a really weird experience in middle school because that was when my mom went back to school. So all of the sudden, our income significantly dropped. So that was the first time money became like a thing to me. And not just like I'm a kid, I don't understand how everything isn't provided for me, That was the first time it was like we had some rough years, but we are now fine. We're
I think
very lucky right now.
I think my first time experiencing that was in '08, but it was worse for my family because my mom was in between jobs and my dad was in the housing market. So we were like, yeah, he got like a letter from my school. He's like, if you can't pay tuition, he's gonna have to leave. So my dad was like, well, gotta figure this out. Like,
my school actually, they did something really nice for me and my brother where they cut us a deal while my mom was back in school, because that was she left 10, maybe 09. So it was like the economy was still recovering.
that's nice.
Which now we get to do 08 part 2.
We need to do it all over again.
Even worse. Forget Great Recession. Great Depression part 2.
Let's do it.
Right during the job market, of course.
But
yeah,
like,
anyway, I don't know, money has always been like present in my life, but my parents I think are usually pretty good about keeping it like I know we've never been like well off, but like, my parents always seem to just keep us like above the water.
Yeah.
Like getting back to sort of the conversation, like knowing people before you actually knew them. Like I'll look through like old yearbooks and stuff, and I'll be like I understand that we like knew each other, but like you're making it seem like we were bigger friends than we were. Like, so I always find those messages from different people, and I don't talk to them anymore, or I'm even better friends, and I didn't talk to them before like a certain period.
Yeah. Yeah, no, going through those shirts was a very weird experience because I had a lot of like people who weren't at my school anymore. I've got a student who obviously she passed away from cancer, so that was like weird to see. I had forgotten how early we became friends, but that was definitely an interesting thing. I was actually texting back and forth with her mother. That's what made me think of it. But it's a very strange experience looking back and remembering your life like that.
Yeah, when I think about like myself in like 8th grade, like for those who don't know me, I wear a sweatshirt every day.
The same sweatshirt, mind you.
Yes, okay. People like to give me crap about it.
You know what's funny? I had a great sweatshirt I wore all the time in middle school that I just remembered because I just found it.
Well, Toby, that's okay because that was middle school. Seth,
but anyway,
is in college.
Anyway, I started wearing a sweatshirt every day in middle school, and particularly in 8th grade, I wore the hood on it every day. And I'm still back and forth on whether or not I want everyone who saw me like that to die or not, because part of me is like, wow, that's kind of embarrassing. But part of me is like, that was also very foundational to me as a person. So it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, I wish that never happened, because that's not true. Because like, I wore that for a lot of reasons, and they're important to me now. And I wrote my college essay on that. I'm wearing a hood in 8th grade.
That's pretty cool.
But at the same time, it's like,
it was.
Well, see, if you kill them, you can have it both ways because nobody can remember it, but it'll still be in your past.
That's true. You're onto something, Evan.
I had this thing where I was just like, my band director teaches middle school and upper school, so sometimes middle school kids will just come in. And I met a middle schooler of his that he had told me, you got to meet this girl. She reminds me of you in middle school. And I met her, and it was the weirdest experience because I was like, yeah, that's me in middle school. And wow, I don't like me at all. So it was a really strange experience. But it's bizarre to think of like who you were and all these things you like hadn't gone through yet, you know.
I'm trying to find a picture of the worst version of me because you guys are my friends and I do want to show you.
It's gonna be a good long time before you guys see middle school Ruby.
Well, the thing is I used to like the thing for me that I wish everybody forget. I used to shave my head, or like
Oh man.
buzz cut my head to the point where it looked like I was like bald.
Oh
It looks so bad.
We should probably show this off the air because it makes bad audio.
Yes,
That's true.
we will.
We will be.
No, there's a couple years. I have pictures of myself from ages like, well, birth to like 9, then 10 to 13, 14. I have gotten rid of all of them, and then from like
Really bad.
you
I imagine like baby Evan, and then like small child Evan, and then like the small child Evan that's on his Instagram, and then like middle school Evan with a full beard.
It was it wasn't that good. It was
my brain
the early stages of this.
Ooh.
My beard.
Pedo stash.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. I destroyed all of those pictures, and you will never find
Evan without a beard. That'd be so white. You'd look like 20 years younger, and I'd hate it. I like your beard. I personally think it looks very good.
Well, thank you.
I just can't imagine.
I have pictures of myself without a beard when I used to shave it early last year. But
didn't when you came to, I think it was orientation. You didn't have one.
I think I did.
had it at orientation.
Oh
yeah, I did, but it was like
it was less so.
I have the picture somewhere of him at orientation.
Yeah, it was
another very weird thing to think about is us at orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't destroy pictures. I just never allowed them to be taken. So that solved the problem for me.
That's the hood.
I still hate having pictures taken of me. I think it probably stems from my middle school years. I hate it. I hate when people take pictures of me without me knowing.
And then my junior year, I just happened to have a group of friends who took a lot of pictures, and I just it was, I don't know whether it was me because I'm just kind of an extrovert, but I very quickly snapped out of it. And
yeah, I've never snapped out of it.
Of just me, but I like having pictures of me with other people.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be okay if it's like a big group photo, but just in general, I hate pictures of me, especially if someone like is like on Snapchat and they randomly just take a picture of me. Don't like it.
No bueno.
Yeah.
I have pictures of my friends. Like, as you guys saw my dorm room, I have a zillion pictures of everyone. And I haven't accumulated as many coming to college, which will change.
Yeah. I have a camera.
Yeah. Don't like it.
We'll take pictures together, Seth. It's fine. Ugh. But just, Roby, whenever you want to take a picture of Seth, just tell me and I'll like sneak in and give him bunny ears or something.
That's not fair. You're photogenic.
Am I? That's hilarious.
Very photogenic.
More than me, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, I need more pictures of myself with people because I hate taking pictures of just me. So.
Oh yeah, I don't understand people who take selfies.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like never really got into Snapchat because I was like, wait, why would I want to take a picture of myself? Like I hate the very idea of that. And even if I like every now and then I have tried to like keep a streak going. And I never take it's always like a picture of the floor or whatever. So I'm like, I'm not going to take a picture of my face.
Yeah.
That's awful. Why would I do that?
No. My Snap history is a repository of moments from junior year and early senior year during track and cross country. I have a lot of really dumb, funny moments during cross country on like Tony coming out of the girls' bathroom and Sam getting chased and they did a video in a big like electric bin that was emptied out, so it was just a big tin that in the park that was like a big square that you could just sit in, and they did videos in it. It was just a lot of good moments.
From I have a few videos like that on my phone, not on Snapchat, but just videos that aren't necessarily something I should share. on an
You
official.
should not
Pixie
share this
grid.
on air. I know
But-
exactly what you're talking about. Seth the Lyle, don't you
But-
dare.
No.
I'm not. But oh my god, do I have some quality videos on my phone that I will
Yeah.
cherish forever?
And it is quality.
Yeah, but I
Those are pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
I have one of two friends of mine trying to explain Star Wars to a friend who has not seen Star Wars, and it's just like we were in a really weird headspace. It doesn't make sense because it's like it's at school and it's like 4:00 and it's after all of us have taken like 2 exams back to back, and so everyone's just like not making sense. There's a solid 15 seconds where they're just shouting back and forth, but his uncle.
Yeah.
And it's about a 45-minute long video.
That's great.
I have a video of me and Joanna both having 50 grapes in her mouth and trying to fit another one.
Okay, that one's staying in. Wait, how did you do that?
They're small little grapes, and look, 3 a.m. at like Joanna's house is a special time. Things happen. She's got a haunted house, so
We already haven't met 3 a.m. Roby, so I'm already in the mindset of like 3 a.m. Roby is this mystical unicorn that does
Look,
that
Roby
spits
and
fire
Joanna
and
feed on each other on a normal day. 3 a.m. Roby and Joanna, nightmare. So it was me, her, and her other friend, who's also my other friend, but I met through Joanna. Not important to the story though. And Joanna turned to me and was like, "We have grapes in the fridge," and I was like, "You want to see how many you can?" And she was like, "I want to see how many I can fit in my mouth." So we got like paper towels, and we all, it was kind of like Chubby Bunny before Chubby Bunny, and not marshmallow.
with just a bunch of grapes.
And yeah, we got up to 50, and then I got up to 52, and she got up to 54, I think, and then we all gave up. But
54 grapes.
they're smaller grapes than you think. They're not like these big honkers.
they're not the big honkers. They're
These big set of badonkers. Packing some Doban honkeros.
Let me tell you, that was. I didn't even look. I was not in any way under the influence of anything because I was like 12. But it
You
looks
were under the influence of life, Roby.
of great of wine.
I was
high
high
on
on
living.
life.
That's all you need sometimes, man.
just me and my best friend, grapes in our mouths, high on life.
Just having a blast. 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess with us housing together next year, there's going to be a lot of 3 a.m. Roby moments.
Oh,
No,
I'm
because if
gonna
you're awake at
love
3
that.
a.m., I'm going to throw a freaking shoe at your head. We've established this.
Yeah, we're living in the same room next year. You better not be awake then.
Oh, please. It'll be like a Saturday night. We'll all be awake.
Yeah.
We could put the quote wall on just like a wall or something in the room.
That's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, just like one wall.
We'll have to get a curtain to cover that because I don't know if my parents will. I don't want to know if I want my parents to read that.
Don't worry. I have a stack. It can be condensed very fast.
Okay.
Look, my parent, it is what it is, all right? Did I say that? Possibly.
Hey, my parents.
Did I say that? I don't know.
I've
Other
heard
than
from
the
my parents
one-
quote wall. They can't make fun of anything I say.
I'm looking forward to the multiple 3 a.m. moments we have at next year where we're just all gone. And I feel bad for Antonio in advance because it's just
I've been told
not ready.
lately I'm a 3 a.m. person because either you're having like a super deep conversation or you're just having one of those.
Or you're just gone.
You're just gone.
we're just gonna be vibing in the living room at 3 a.m.
Also, Mike, you're invited to all 3 a.m. moments. You can see
Yes.
which
Show
we
up.
undoubtedly have.
Pull up. We'll do it. We have the big living room.
Yeah.
Bro, is there even an elevator in that place? How are we going to get a couch up there?
We'll have a friends moment. We'll have a friends.
Yeah, I know. We're literally going to have a friends moment. It's going to be a disaster.
It's either that or we're gonna get an IKEA couch that we can put together in that room.
Oh, that's going to be so much worse. What are
That's
you
a bonding
talking about?
experience.
No, we will. I'll move out before we even start.
We'll all kill each other.
Seth, if we get an IKEA couch, we know you won't be helping.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
me,
because
Roby,
I
and Antonio.
will kill each other. I'm getting out of there before it gets bad.
All right, does anyone else have anything they want to discuss? I talked about writing on my hand, so my job's...
Yeah. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
hope anyone who's listening is housing. It went well, is going well. I think community hasn't happened yet, but
Me happens next.
good luck to anyone.
Michael, good luck for your housing next.
Yeah, Michael, we're gonna throw an F in the chat for your housing.
My housing
Do it.
sucks.
We believe in you.
What's
No,
your number?
Like 2616. Just throw a
That's
dagger into
rough.
my heart.
That's rough.
Well, also tell them when you're going.
What? Oh yeah. So the sophomores are on the 15th and 16th, which is Wednesday and Thursday. I have Thursday at 5 p.m. So
Oh no.
Nice.
I'm done. I'm gonna go back to Warren, but not in the single that I had.
You're
You're
gonna
gonna
be
get a
living with the freshmen
worse
next year.
place in Warren.
I want to
gonna
throw a you're welcome to Seth and Evan for being a girl, so we got COVID.
Thank you, Roby.
Yeah. And
So
we
good.
still almost didn't get anything.
That's true.
All right. Should we wrap up then?
I mean, we're going for an hour 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough audio for me to edit.
With lots of
Alrighty,
cuts.
people. Stay safe out there in this Rona-infested world.
Yeah, thanks for listening to UI Squared on WTB Radio or on YouTube, whichever you're listening to.
Have a
when you're
wonderful
listening to
time for next episode. Remember, creepy's not a crime.
Take it sleazy.
Keep it sleazy, though.